Hello, my name is Lao Ting Yen, and today my topic of discussion is about cancel culture in digital media and whether it's a tool for accountability or a suppression of opinions. So let's get into it. First and foremost, what is cancel culture? It typically refers to the online movement where groups of individuals publicly targets and highlights a person, an organization, or an idea's issues by withdrawing support and amplifying the situation. It can come in many different forms, such as boycotts, online protests, and mass sharing of the movement. This isn't a new concept, as it existed back in 2016 just under a different name. And it was during the COVID era and the death of George Floyd that cancel culture became more well known as protests and debates were mostly taken online. As there was a study conducted in 2020, as shown here, which resulted in a staggering number of 10,093 American adults varying age knowing what cancel culture is. So, why is it important in mass communication? Cancel culture plays an important part of mass communication as it reflects how audiences are no longer passive receivers but can be actively participating and on a global and diverse level. As you can see on the bottom, just how many people are on social media platforms, and this is only TikTok's numbers, as well as up until only 2022. Cancel culture can also highlight and demonstrate how theories work and influence the masses. Furthermore, cancel culture raises important questions about freedom of speech, media influence, and the power of online communities. For my discussion, I'll be mainly focusing on three theories: agenda setting theory, framing theory, and spiral of silence, and will be connected to three cases I have studied and analyzed. For agenda setting theory, it suggests that media may not tell people what to think, but it tells people what to think about. And when topics receive extensive coverage through hashtags, news reports, and online discussions, it becomes more important in public consciousness due to increase in exposure. For framing theory, it focuses on how information is presented. The way an issue is framed can shape public perception and influence whether audiences view a person or organization positively or negatively. Sparse silence explains that individuals may remain silent when they feel that their opinions differ from the majority, as fear of criticism, isolation, or social consequences can discourage people from expressing their views openly. For my first case study, I'll be focusing on the #MeToo movement, which demonstrates how cancel culture can promote accountability. The movement was originally founded by Tarana Burke in 2007 to support survivors of sexual abuse due to lacking resources. And in 2017, it gained global attention and attraction, bringing women from all over the countries to speak up. Millions of individuals shared their experience under the #MeToo, creating awareness and encouraging more victims, and even stars such as Uma Thurman, Rose McGowan, and many more. And this was the movement that started it all. One of the most famous and notable impacts is about Harvey Weinstein, a powerful Hollywood producer. Allegations against him that was shone brightly due to the movement spread rapidly through media coverage and social media discussions. As a result, Winston faced legal consequences and was sentenced to prison, bringing justice to victims and demonstrating how public attention can contribute to accountability. Through the lens of agenda setting theory, the issue becomes a major public concern because social media and news stations continuously highlighted and spread visibility out to audiences, putting this situation on the priority spotlight that calls for attention. It also raised public awareness and exposed individuals that were usually untouchable due to status and power, and sparked changes where legal actions and accountability was to be expected. This case shows that cancel culture can give marginalized voices an opportunity to challenge powerful individuals and systems. For my second case study, I'll be focusing on corporate accountability through Aunt Jemima's brand. The brand has existed for over a century, but many critics argued that its imagery was based on racist stereotypes originating from the 19th century, especially during the height of the Black Lives Matter, as it depicts an African woman that showcases stereotypical friendly black nanny that serves white families. And during the height of the Black Lives Matter in 2020, this was when public discussions intensified and many consumers called for change. Through framing theory, the public increasingly viewed the brand as a symbol of racial stereotype instead of the nostalgic breakfast product logo. As a result, PepsiCo listened to the feedback and acted swiftly. Additionally, looking at another framing theory angle, PepsiCo would be trying to reposition their brand into something new and more positive, trying to change audiences' perspective of the brand to be less critical and hopeful by issuing public apologies and donating incentives worth more than 400 million to support Black communities. This example can demonstrate how public opinion communicated through digital media can influence corporate decision-making and brand identity. And while cancel culture can promote accountability, it can also produce harmful consequences, which brings me to my third and final case study of the incident with Kate Kalenchi. Kate Kalenchi is an author of the award-winning memoir book Some Kids I Thought and What They Taught Me, which is a recollection of memories of her 13-year career as a teacher in the UK. However, due to the outdated and some considered racist way to describe her students, she faced major backlash. Following public backlash, she reportedly received death threats, experienced online harassment, and suffered severe emotional distress to the point of having suicidal tendencies. Even Sir Philip Pullman, which was an ex-president of Society of Authors, faced condemnation when he publicly defended Kate. His actions later on demonstrated spiral silence, as it caused one to self-censor himself. It also deterred people with similar opinions to remain silent in fear of the same backlash as both of them. Despite its role in accountability, cancel culture still remains controversial to this day. According to Pew Research findings, some people, aka 14% of the participants, viewed cancel culture as a form of censorship, while 12% names it as a way to cause harm to people and is a restriction of free speech. Critics even argue that it encourages groupthink and online bullying, just as the case with Kate Kalenchi, where most people took it too far with doxing and death threats. It also encourages people to rush to judgments before all facts are available, such as the instance when a living relative of the woman who played the character of Aunt Jemima, named Lillian Richards, her family came out and disproved of the brand making decisions without consulting the family, as in fact they were proud of the legacy their great aunt had created. Some also highlight the potential oversimplification of historical and cultural context. My bad. Context. And I would also like to bring attention to Fricke's discussion of blame, as it suggests that accountability should encourage learning and growth. However, cancel culture is often criticized and infamous for focusing on punishment rather than rehabilitation. There is also focus on the full effect of cancel culture, as in some instances, and with a study conducted within some Southeast Asian countries, there are some people who are willing to forgive individuals who have been cancelled before. Individuals who have suffered from cancellations, especially celebrities, may have an easier time to recover back if they retain strong support from their audiences. Therefore, the effectiveness of cancel culture remains and depends on whether it promotes meaningful change or simply public shaming. To conclude it all, cancel culture has both positive and negative impacts on mass communication. On one hand, it empowers ordinary individuals, amplifies voices, and promotes accountability among powerful individuals, organizations, and systems. On the other hand, it may encourage mob mentality, damage mental health, and even restrict freedom of expression and opinions. Therefore, rather than completely supporting or rejecting cancel culture, we as a society should focus on media literacy as it helps people be more critical of the information they're receiving rather than acting on emotional biases, as well as practicing responsible communication, focus on constructive criticism, and evaluating information carefully before reaching conclusions. Ultimately, cancel culture demonstrates that the growing power of digital media in shaping public opinion and influencing social change. That is all for my discussion, and I hope you enjoyed and learned something. And this is my reference page. Thank you.